role was the presenter.
Yeah,
He was the host.
yeah, it shouldn't have given you guys that permission, so that's okay. Let's see. Hmm.
If you look in like the three dots, it says you can reclaim your host role.
Hmm.
I think that's what someone did.
Oh yeah, and then they were the host and they could control everything.
Change role.
Because if you press on your name, it says like make me presenter, and then yeah.
Yeah, but usually it tells me, it asks me. So usually you can't just do it. Usually you have to, it has to ask me. So, okay, well, we shall see. Because I don't think, yeah, for some reason it was happening in math too. So it wasn't just here. So, okay. So one of the things I wanted you to do yesterday was to write some things that you noticed or wondered about this article, because you read children's play, and then you read things that you noticed or wondered about, okay, with Miss Foley, and you also looked at this informatory, explanatory paragraph. Ooh, we have a lot that we're going to do today, but it's going to be a little different. First, I want to ask you guys, what did you notice or wonder about in our article yesterday, Shelter the Teepee? Go ahead and raise your hand, and then I will ask you, and I'd love you to share. Harper, what is something you noticed?
Oh, I had a lot of things, but
Mhm.
something I wondered is before I even read the book, or the paragraph or whatever, I wondered what did they make the teepees out of and how did they make it stand up? And I also asked what did they use for the flooring or for like their beds?
Mm-hmm.
And then something I noticed is that they used buffalo hide and logs to make their homes.
Nice. Yeah, hopefully next year, what we do in sixth grade, and we couldn't this year because of COVID, but we go to the Fur Trade Center and we actually get to, they have a giant setup of a teepee, and it's an actual teepee made with the traditional things. So hopefully you guys will be able to see that next year. Those are some good notices and different things. I'm going to keep going. Riley, what is something you noticed or wondered?
So about the title, I wondered, did every house have to be a teepee? And another thing that I wondered was the teepee a symbol of something? Something I noticed was that they needed portable homes to move quickly. And something else I had to wonder is to make teepees, did they only use buffalo? Where did they get the word teepee?
Yeah.
I noticed that teepees were made in spring so they could replace the old ones.
Mm-hmm.
What was the paint made of?
Oh.
And then, did they ever change places? Did the women or men build the teepee? Did women or men build the teepee?
They
I
changed.
noticed. I
Yeah.
noticed it took 2 men to build a teepee. Also, it takes less than 3 minutes to build a teepee.
Yeah, so man, it went pretty quick. Those are some other great noticing and wonderings. Actually, that you've got a pretty thorough one of stuff at the you thought about stuff at the very beginning and then towards the middle and end too. Thanks for sharing. Berkeley, what did you wonder or notice?
This in the children's play one,
Mm-hmm.
I know that they said that the boys hunt a lot of times.
Mm.
I think it's 3 exactly. But
Yeah.
I wonder why that the boys hunt multiple times while they explained what girls did more.
And I think that's something
Also,
I think Miss Foley
and also
noticed it too. Sorry, keep going.
Miss like Harper, I also noticed that I wondered at the first part what the teepees were made out of. And then at the end, I also wondered if they made it out of anything besides buffalo skin.
Thanks for sharing. Yeah, sorry, I interrupted you, but I think Miss Foley, she had talked about with children's play that, yeah, the boys, they mentioned it multiple times, the boys were the ones that hunted. And if you remember one of the lessons, that's actually something that for gender roles, we had talked about, and they just recently, I think I had shown you in an article, found out that sometimes women did actually hunt, depending on where they're at. So those are some great wonderings as well. Anybody else have a wondering or a notice on, I guess, either one of these articles?
I have some for children's play.
Okay, what did you have for children's play?
So I noticed that the little kids learned how to do things while they played. So it was like playing, but also like learning,
Yeah.
like how to hunt and how to like set up their teepees and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that they had everything, like, but a smaller version of it as like toys.
Mm-hmm.
And I wondered because it said their parents and grandparents made small baskets, pots, bows, and arrows, horses, and even teepees for the children to play with. I wondered what did they make the baskets, pots, etc. out of?
Mm-hmm.
And they got to play, but how, like, what did they do to help their parents? I also wondered. I wondered what did the children. Oh, what did the so it says the children piled toys in the I don't know that word the
Travoy?
yeah travois. I asked what like kind of toys would they be able to put in that because they can't like put a poop I don't think.
Yeah.
And then how did they learn how to start? How did they learn how to start like fires and hunt prairie dogs?
And
Could I say some things I have about children's play?
child play too? Yeah.
Yeah. What do they mean by playing that help them learn to be adults? Did the children get to pick what to play? Did pretend hunting help them? Did the girls have to cook some of the meals? Do the boys and girls ever change roles?
Yeah. Those are also really good ones. So if you notice too, the word travois, this is something actually, it's kind of like a cart that's just pulled by a couple sticks. I know some of you guys, that was a word that you guys noticed. Bailey, I see that you also have your hand up. Did you have something else to add?
It's a notice for children's play.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that like the girls would like pretend to like camp around and while the boys like hunted and like they made like food for their parents like the prairie dog or squirrels.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thank you guys for sharing. Those were some really good, those actually really made me think about my past knowledge and what I know. Because I know a lot, like I said, about Native American culture or from Ojibwe culture. And yeah, that's very different than actually the Nez Perce. You talked about here, a lot of times they had teepees. Whereas the Ojibwe, they had wigwams. So I know somebody had mentioned, does everybody have teepees? So some of those questions and those noticings that you came up with made me think about even more questions. So thanks for sharing, you guys. Awesome job. Really quickly, I wanted to show you, sorry, before we continue, is yesterday, this video through the Great Minds website. Some of you guys, I did do the recording, but it's better, and in the future, I probably won't do the recordings. It's better if you actually go to the video. So how to get to the actual video is, do you have an app called Clever on your iPad? You should. So I want everybody to click on this app, and I want you to search for your school. It should be Spring Lake Park. Yep, so click on the app.
I don't have Clever.
Go into your self-serve then, your self-service, and see if you can download it from there. So you should have Clever. If it's not, look in your self-serve and install it. And the first time you log in, you need to look for Spring Lake Park. So if you notice here, it says Spring Lake Park.
So one of my
And we should be the Westwood one, because that's our school. Then it says log in with your Spring Lake Park password. So you're going to use your normal username. So you're not going to do your @mypanthers. So you're going to do your awesome 27, or sorry, you're 28, right? Your normal username. So 28.
Yeah.
So if I got like Riley. Yes. What's up, dear?
Mine is not downloading right now.
You might have to try this later, okay? Can you try it later if you didn't have it?
Sure.
Yeah. So sorry, yeah. Most of them should have been installed, but if they weren't, I want you to try this later. And if you still can't log in, I will help you, okay? So you're going to do 27 and then your name and then your normal password, and you should be able to log in, okay? Awesome.
I got in.
Some of you said you got in. Beautiful. You're going to click on, it says Great Minds in Sync. Yep, so if you can't log in because it's downloading, then just pay attention. So I went down and I found Great Minds in Sync. And that is how you get into our book online. And if you notice, let's see, can I see it in the kid? Can I see it on your thing? Ooh,
For me, it says, "Good morning, Harper. You have 2 assignments for today. Module 1, Day 4 video, and Module 1, Day 5 video."
Okay, I'm going to delete the Day 4. But the Day 5 video, yes, that's what you should have. I have it too. And that is the video from yesterday, okay? So when you are supposed to watch a video, I'm going to say in Schoology. Oh no, I deleted my, I closed my window for Google Chrome. Okay.
Now I have the app now, but once I try and log in, I can't hear you.
That's okay, so try it later, okay? So
Even if you should it stay on, like, will the assignment stay on? Because, like, I went on to Great Minds and I watched the Module 1, Day 5 video, but it still is on here.
Yep, so what I have to do is, on my side, I have to come over here and I have to click on it and delete it. Okay, so I'm going to watch it.
Glitchy.
Okay, but if it's not working, that's because my computer. So, okay, so it's not working. Casey said this was working.
I can hear you.
Yeah, you're glitchy.
Itchy.
I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah, we can't even hear you. You're just like.
Yeah, and then you'll just stop for like a minute.
Okay, how about now? Am I working now?
Good.
Okay, it's because I accidentally closed these and they had to reload. And so when they were loading, then it makes it glitchy. Okay, so let me know in the chat if for some reason you can't log in later. Okay, so I got Casey written down, and then afterwards maybe we can try getting in. Okay, so tell me now, because later on you're gonna have to say watch the video in their Great Minds website. So if you notice, I said close it, and it shouldn't actually, nothing should show up now. So I have to actually say close on it for it to disappear. Okay?
Yeah, now I have 0 assignments.
Perfect, because that's what we watched yesterday. Okay? Lovely. So let's continue. So now that we know how to log in, we are going to look at these questions. Okay, so we already talked about, and I got to see some of your great responses in your discussion yesterday. What is your city or town like, or your village? How is your own way of life, how you get around, where you shop? How is that influenced or shaped by how you lived? So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, those that completed this discussion. If you're interested, other people wrote. And so if you're interested what other people wrote, I would look there. We're going to continue today, though, and we are going to talk about how is your way of life shaped by your surroundings, okay? Because this was how the Nez Perce's life was shaped as well. Okay, so we're going to look, how did the homeland sustain their lifestyle and culture? So I want you to wonder today, notice and wonder about the aspects of Nez Perce lifestyle and culture that you're reading about. We are all going to read a different article today. I'm going to put you in groups and you're going to read them, okay? And so I want you to think about, how does their lifestyle affect, and what are some things that you notice and wonder about it, okay? So what we're going to do is I'm going to put you in breakout rooms. I am going to assign you a story. Okay, so your group is going to have a story. Where is the story located? In Schoology. If you go to our week 7, we have 6A, 6B, 6C. Actually, since we read 6C, we're going to do 6D, 6E, and 6F. Okay? I'll put the link in your breakout room. So that means I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rooms. And you're going to read this out loud together. Okay? So if I'm in the group food and clothing, food and drink, you can find it in your workbook, or find it in I'll send you the link in the chat. I want you to read this out loud, and I want you to write some things about I wonder or I notice. So write about something you notice or wonder just from the title and while you're reading it. Okay? Okay, so I want you to read it as a group just once. Does that make sense? And I want you to look at the title and tell me something you notice about it. Questions. Okay, so I'm going to put you in breakout rooms.
You just have to write one thing you notice and one thing you wonder?
Yep, just for now.
So will you come into our session and say this is the one that you assigned, or?
Yes, I'm going to put it in your chat after I sign you, okay? So you can click on it then, and it should bring you to the article. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's see. I said I needed 5 sessions. What did it?
After the breakout rooms, do we leave?
After the breakout rooms, we're all going to come back together, and we're going to discuss, because not everybody's going to read it. I'm going to have somebody share what was your story about, okay?
Okay, thank you.
And then because we'll all get to then hear about what the other person did, okay? Okay, So I'm going to put you in the breakout rooms. Then I'm going to put in the chat the link to read the story. Is your link? You are food and drink.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Should we?
Your link is in the chat. You are clothing.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Your link is in the chat. You are, oops, wrong one. You are getting around. So select the second link. Okay, so getting around. How do they move around? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, your chat link is in the chat. You are spirituality. So so some of their beliefs.
Is that 5 or 6?
6E.
Maybe 6.
Transport and trade, 6F. Your link is in the chat.
That happens or whatever.
6A.
Yes, we found it.
Perfect.
We got it in our books.
I would, perfect. Read it out loud together.
And someone can do the big one, and then another person can do the smaller one, and then another
Yeah,
one.
so I'll do the first two and then somebody else, or I can.
You should be 6D getting around, and I want you to read it out loud, okay? Okay, so read it out loud. 6D getting around. You can find it probably in your workbook too.
Their belief system is based on respect for other economic activity in the Euro-American sense. The distribution of food and animal hides, for example, benefited the entire.
How's it going, guys? I don't hear any talking, and we're supposed to read it out loud. Did everybody find it in their workbook or online?
I found it.
It's 6D getting around. Oh, it's a pretty short one. Okay, would somebody be willing to read the first paragraph? The Nez Perce.
I can.
Okay, go ahead.
The Nez Perce made large bags or suitcases, like envelopes, to store and carry their food and clothing. Parfleche, pronounced parfleche, were made from hides and were often beautifully decorated. They were easy to store inside teepees and could be hung from the teepee poles. They could also be stacked on a travois for moving.
Uh-huh. Okay, who would like to read the second paragraph, or do you want to split it in two? Why don't we split it in two? Why don't somebody read to parafleches, so the first half? Carter, do you want to read the Indians to parafleches?
I'm trying to get to it. It's just hard.
Okay, so while they get to that, how about Casey? Would you be willing to read the Indians to the parafleches? Okay. So Indians.
This way.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Are you done?
Yeah, we finished reading it.
Okay.
And so what should we do?
So hold on about one more minute, and then I'm going to have us all get back together, and I'm going to ask, what did you guys notice about the title? Okay?
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So just hang tight because I've got one group that is almost done.
Spanish ships brought horses to the New World. The Indians used horses to pull the travois, filled with their belongings. Children could ride on top of the load. Some tribes made small pole carriages on top of the travois for young children to ride, so they wouldn't fall off and get hurt during travel.
I can read the last paragraph.
Perfect.
People living near rivers or lakes built small boats from whatever was available. They used reeds, sawn skins, hollowed out tree trunks, or tree bark. Most canoes were steered with wooden paddles. On rivers where the water was too fast or too shallow, the canoe could be carried across land for a ways or portaged.
Okay, so what do you notice about the text or wonder about the topic? That's what we're going to share in a couple seconds. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so what your first plan was to read the title of your text and notice one thing that you wondered about your topic. So just in general, looking at the title, what was something that you kind of wondered? Can somebody share? And don't forget to tell us what was the title.
Here.
Okay.
The title was Spirituality.
Mhm.
I noticed that they had a spiritual connection to the environment. And I wonder if just the Ninny Poo had a connection with the environment.
Okay, so that was just looking at that title, okay? Anybody else have something? Harper.
I do. So we did food and drink, and I wondered what was their drink and how did they make it? Like, did they just always drink water? And I noticed that well, I guess it was probably another wonder, but what did all of the like tribes in that area eat and drink the same things?
Awesome. Okay. Did somebody have something from transport and trade, clothing, or what was the other one? Getting around?
Transport and before I read it, something I wondered was what did they use for transport? And why were transport and trade paired together? Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
That's a pretty big wonder. I like that. Why are they grouped together? Okay, does somebody else have something from one of the other groups that hasn't gone yet? So getting around and clothing?
For clothing, I was in that group, and before reading it, I noticed while I was reading the first paragraphs, I noticed that they used a lot of skin from animals for clothing, and I wonder how they make skin into clothing.
Ooh, okay. And then something from getting around. Who did getting around? Can somebody from that group quickly share? What did you notice about the title? Or I have a one. Yeah.
I noticed that they made canoes out of like a lot of natural resources like reeds. And I wondered how long it took to build a canoe.
Okay, so just for getting around. Okay, we're going to read that story again. If you notice, we read these things multiple times. What I want you to do now is I want you to circle unknown words, okay? Then I want you to do, as you're reading, I want you to put an N next to things that you notice and a W next to other things that you wonder. I'm not going to put an amount just because you might have more, you might have less, okay? But I want you to write a N if there's something that you notice and maybe write down what it is, and a W for things that maybe you wonder. And don't forget, tell me some words that you encounter. When we come back,
What article are we doing it in?
same one. So you're going to reread it, circle any words, write an N for things that you notice, and a W for things that you wonder. And you guys can talk together. When we come back, I'm going to ask you to tell us, maybe somebody can, I would also talk with your group. I want somebody to tell me, okay, so I want you to maybe say have one person. So one person can tell me a summary of their article. Okay. And so you can split up the work. So when we get back, I want us to present to the class. So I want one person, so you can decide, to tell me what a summary is. So what did you read about? I want one person to say about some things that your group wondered. And then somebody to tell me about things that your group noticed. So this is when we come back. Okay, so when we come back. And I need somebody to tell me then what is, because you have about 4 people, some words you didn't know. Okay, because other people probably have those same words. If you notice, we've got some of those same ones. Okay, so you're looking for things that you wondered with the W. You can do it as a group. Things that you noticed, okay, and words you didn't know. Does that make sense? So you're going to reread it and do those things, okay? Questions? Okay, I'm going to put you in your breakout sessions again. Carter was not in a session. Carter is going to move there. I saw a hand. Does somebody have a question?
What if there's a word, what if there's no words you don't know?
Well, maybe find a basic word. That way each person has a maybe there's a special, if there's a word that you don't know, maybe instead, if you know all of them, maybe there was a special word that you think the class should know about. Okay? Make sense? That way everybody kind of has an opportunity to share. Okay, we're going to go into our rooms again, reread it, and we are going to talk about those things when we get back.
Summary of their article. Your group wondered, your group noticed, words you didn't know, special word.
Okay, so I'll do the summary then?
Okay.
Wyatt, I'm going to move you to a different group really quick.
Okay.
Okay.
Another person should put she also put it in the chat. Okay. Proceeded by cleansing in Sweat Lodge to perfidy, spirit, mind, and body.
The Nimipu were skilled participants in a vast trade network that extended west to the Pacific, east through the Great Plains, south to Mexico, and north into Canadian subarctic. Trade was a complex arrangement that involved the exchange of commodities,
Commodities.
the sharing of resources, marriage, alliance, and the diffusion of new ideas from other cultures. It was not just an economic activity in the Euro-American sense. The distribution of food and animal hides, for example, benefited an entire village rather than one individual. The trade network allowed for the flow of valued decorative items such as dentalia, cowrie, and clam shells from the west. Buffalo robes, dried meat, and pipestones came from the plains in the east. Baskets, berries, salt, herbs, dried salmon furs, hides, roots, stones for tool making, and later horses. On rivers where the water was too fast or shallow, the canoe could be carried.
Hello.
Hello. I'm just popping into groups, just listening. You guys are doing great.
Okay. Yeah, we're just writing what we notice.
Perfect.
I don't have a paper next to me. I can say what to write down though. Does anybody have a paper?
Or you can write it notability too.
Yeah, I think.
Both lines.
Well, because I don't have Notability because I'm on my computer, and I think Notability costs stuff when you.
Oh yeah. Well, you could you open up like Microsoft Word or something? Just type it.
Oh yeah, I have Google Keep, so
Yeah.
I think I can write it on there.
That works.
Okay, thank you.
How's it going, ladies and gentlemen?
Good.
Good. Thanks, Wyatt, for switching groups. They only had 3, and I figured we would.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a different story to read.
Yep.
What it means, but
Yeah.
it's an important word.
Yeah, and I don't really know what the weekend means, and so I sort of.
What is the word?
Guardian spirit. Guardian spirit.
What word is it?
Weaken.
Or guardian spirit.
Oh. It might be a
the word sought.
Like thought. Sought.
Ah.
Maybe it has to do with that.
The waken. Yeah, I'm not sure what that word is either. I'm curious.
So.
Ooh, it has to do something with a spiritual wolf, is what I'm assuming. Or sled. Awesome job, guys. Keep going.
And then so they usually drink.
How they use the different clothing.
Are you guys all done? Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys all got a chance to kind of read and look at some wonder and some words and kind of go into depth on your article. So everybody's articles were relatively short. It looks like food and drink was maybe a little bit longer. So what I would like us to do, like I said, is I want you to tell me, somebody to tell me a quick summary. What did you guys read about? Then somebody tell me what you noticed, somebody that tells me what you wondered, and if there were any words. I'm going to start out with food and drink, then I'll go next to clothing, getting around, spirituality, and transport and trade. So we'll just kind of go on there. So could somebody tell me what was food and drink about?
I am going to do the summary. So food and drink was all about what the Nez Perce people ate. So they ate a lot of berries and they made like special meals that like saved well. And they usually the kids just drank water, and at some times they had like special drinks to go with the special meals. Like they made honey and punch and like tea, and yeah.
Ah, wonderful. So what is something that you guys noticed? Who is the I noticed? Or your group noticed?
Greta, that was you, right?
Wonders.
Somebody really quickly want to do the I noticed?
Okay, I guess I can do it then. Some things we noticed were that they really like berries because it said they ate many kinds of wild berries, strawberries, blueberries, wild grapes, huckleberries, service berries, currants, cranberries, and many more.
Mm.
And they dried a lot of them. We also noticed that they made this one special food called pemmican that would keep well. We also noticed they used all natural resources to make all their stuff, and the drink was usually just water.
Mm. Okay, what was the I wonder?
So some of the wonders were what types of fish did they catch? Because it mentioned a lot of that they catched fish. Another one was who went to get the berries. And then like animals, like what animals did they use to make the food?
Ooh, those are some great wonders. Okay, were there any words that you thought were important or you didn't know about?
I found a word called pulverize. I don't really know what that means.
Pulverize means to ground into very small pieces. So if you've got those berries, a lot of times they pulverized it, or they talked about powdered meat. They would pulverize it till it's a powder. Mm-hmm.
To make the pemmican, they would pulverize the meat and then they'd mix it with like fat and dried berries.
Yeah, and the fat is important because in the wintertime, fat is what keeps you warm. So that's why, like, a lot of animals have blubber and fat around them. Thanks for sharing. Okay, we got to keep going because we've got about 10 minutes. Okay, clothing. Could somebody tell me from clothing, what was the summary of what you read?
For our summary, I wrote that first they talked about how they turned the skin of the animals into clothing. Then they talked about the different designs and how they designed. And at the end, they talked about how they use different clothing and when they use them in powwows and special events.
Yeah, so they say at Indian dance competitions. They actually have that right now. I have a friend who, I don't know what tribe he's from, but he used to go and be a part of Indian dance competitions show. So interesting. Okay, what is something from your group that you noticed?
I noticed that they used a lot of skin, and I wonder how they make the skin into clothing.
Okay. So yeah, it talks about buckskin, which is deer skin. What is something you wondered in your group?
I can say that. So what I was wondering in the reading was like did it mean something to them wearing different like anklets and stuff? Like did that mean something special while they were doing the dances?
Ooh, that's a very good wonder. Were there any words that you guys were unsure of? We're learning a lot of good words today, too.
There was one word that was not really that we didn't know, but it was something that seemed special because it was said a lot in the reading,
Uh-huh.
and it was the raw hide, which they did say a lot in it.
Yeah, so that buckskin and that rawhide, let's see, that was super, I mean, it was super, super important to them because that's, I mean, what they made all of their clothes out. If you think about it, they didn't have fabric and they didn't have sheep to make yarn. They didn't have cotton. We don't have cotton up here to make some of our clothing. So they used buckskin. So other animals and that raw hide. There it is. Thank you for sharing 6B. Okay, so getting around, what was this summary about? What did you guys read about? Can you explain it to us?
I can, yeah. I said that the Nez Perce had a few different ways of getting around. They made canoes out of natural resources like reeds. They also traveled in carriages made out of poles that were carried over people's shoulders. Teepees and clothing were tied to them to carry their luggage or things they needed. The Nez Perce had many different ways of getting around.
Awesome. So yeah, they portaged over the rivers, and then they had the travois and parafletches. Okay, so what was something you guys noticed?
I noticed that it said they traveled a lot.
Mm-hmm. So they were always on the move. Okay, what's something you wondered?
I wondered how much they traveled, like how many days at a time.
Yeah. Okay, and then were there any words that you thought were important or you didn't know?
I didn't know travois.
Okay, so travois, that was actually in our article, yeah, the yesterday. So travois looks like this, and it is a little stick that you,
Not sharing your screen.
oh, I'm not? Ooh, I thought I was sharing my screen this whole time. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so a travois looks like this. So it's a little triangle, and you can either put it on like where a person is there, or a horse. Okay, and then you put your goods behind it. You also have the word parafletch or paraflesh, which is another kind of thing they used to carry things. Okay, so it was a little container that they used. Awesome. Okay, thank you for sharing getting around. Okay, spirituality. What is something, could you guys tell us a summary of spirituality?
Yeah. One sec. The Ninny Poo, like many other Northwest people, had a close spiritual connection with their environment.
Mm-hmm.
One of their philosophies was the Nimipu philosophy is one of equality,
Mm-hmm.
and the one sec. they tried to find a Wayakin, and they a Wayakin or guardian spirit.
Ah, thank you for sharing. What was something then that you noticed?
Something that we noticed was like I noticed that they had a guardian spirit and it was called the Weekin.
Mm-hmm.
Weekin. So yeah.
Awesome. So the Wayakin. Yeah, so that was that guardian spirit or was that journey. What is something you wondered?
Something that we wondered was, I wonder if a sweat lodge is like a sauna, or I wonder how much the sweat lodges can get up to, and I wonder what the exact meaning of waking is.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm guessing one of your words was the Wayakin. What were some, is that the only word that you guys weren't sure of?
No.
Yeah. Well,
We have
Sought.
well, we have sought,
Mhm.
philosophy, and Wayakin or guardian spirits.
Um,
So we think that Wayakin is like maybe an animal that protected the people or their spiritual beliefs.
yeah, so actually it does say here, Waken is their guardian spirit. And I was looking it up, and it looks like a lot of times, Waken, I saw that it connected, that is not Waken apparently, that it connected with some people when probably more animal, their animal spirits. So a lot of them I noticed maybe included the wolf, or maybe a horse, or yeah, it was kind of a spirit animal. So a lot of birds and cranes. And then sought is something they looked for. And the other word was what? Philosophy. Oh, so this was their belief, and that had to do with that spirituality. Thanks for sharing. Okay, we've got one more. Transport and trade. What was this? What was the summary of this article? Who had transport and trade? Could you tell us what this?
The summary is there the Nimipu were participants in a really big trade network, and it went across the Great Plains, Mexico, subarctic Canada,
Mm-hmm.
in the Pacific, and it went, and it was on the Snake, Clearwater, and Columbia rivers.
Ah, so they used, that's where actually, if you look at some of these, they really connected. So we talked about the canoes a lot. So I would assume that, yeah, rivers would have been really important. What's something that you guys noticed about this? Did you guys notice anything while you were reading? How about wonder? Maddie, I see you're unmuted, but we can't quite hear you. Okay.
I wonder if like by trade routes they meant like they like made like pathways, like their destinations. Is
Yeah.
that what they by trade routes? I wonder.
Like if they used the same ones over and over, kind of like a path? Huh. Were there any words that you guys didn't quite know?
I had a word. Dentalia.
Ooh, let's see. Is that in the 4th paragraph?
Yeah, it's like on the like no, the 3rd. It's in the
Such as dentalia, caraway, and clamshells. Ah, that must be, I'm assuming, because you guys have already talked about it, it's a natural something from nature. It's dentistry here. I don't know. So let's see. Oh, look here. It looks like it might be a type of mineral, actually. Or, oh, yeah, Maddie?
Glossary, but dentalia is like, it says tooth or tusk shells used for ornaments and by native peoples as a form of money.
Beautiful. Thank you for finding that. Yeah. So look, they look like they made necklaces and bracelets out of them. And this actually probably has to do with some of that clothing. So it looks like this is something. It looks very rare. I know we're going to be leaving here. So it might be something with that clothing that they would wear for ceremonies. Okay, awesome job, ladies and gentlemen. Your only homework today is to read. We are going to tomorrow continue with the next lesson, and then we're actually going to come back to this. So tomorrow you've got a little bit, you've got a discussion. You're going to read Child's Play again, and then you're going to add to your vocabulary. Okay? I will see you on Thursday. Have a wonderful day, you guys. Bye.
Everything. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Have a great day.